comienzo con Didem Özbek, que viene de Istanbul, del PIST Project Space.
Thank you. Welcome everyone. First of all, I would like to thank to Ablar and Arte for inviting me on behalf of PIST to Madrid. I'll just give you a brief explanation of what we do at PIST in Istanbul. PIST means runway for airplanes and dance floor, or also Formula One racing track is called PIST in Turkish. And also, for example, if a cat comes to your knees, you call it PIST, PIST to send it away. And you also know like the word like to get pissed. Or we were in Denmark this year as a resident, and we learned the word PIST prota, which means fuck you in Danish or Finnish, I don't know, but I think it works well in many languages. We have 3 shops on the European center of Istanbul. We are a non-profit artist-run space, and it's run by me and Osman Bozkurt. And we, I think, run PIST since May 2006. And you see the upper floor. Right now, since 2011, we started also an international production and research residency program. I will also give a brief explanation about it. So other than getting into the shop, we also use as much medium as we can for exhibiting work, and we are really into experimental work. So the communication of the work is also important for us. We have 3 different kinds of audiences. The first one is the local people living and working there who has no interest in art at all, and we have no intention to educate them, but we are totally getting inspired of how they practice in their daily life. We usually copy and paste. And the second audience is I can say the international art scene. Istanbul is quite attractive, and we have people coming a lot. So the third scene is the local art scene. We either do PIST projects, like this is a project I have initiated, artist information, and I have a graphic design background, so I use typography a lot. And this was the subversion of tourist information offices, because also in Turkey we don't have any arts council, and even when you have a small shop, people consider you as an authority, and they come and ask you questions, and this was a place that collects questions about what was going on the Istanbul contemporary art scene. Also, we invite artists to practice or like experiment their work, and this is Işıl Eğrikavuk's performance, and we hosted also Eflux video rental when we first started, so she used the same space. We also hold discussions, debates, and screenings. It's very important in our program. We don't have a regular exhibition program, but we mostly do like screenings or discussions more than the exhibitions. And this is another like a sample of an exhibition for us. We never exhibit ready-made work, but we have to be either like the artists we collaborate, we have to be a part of it. I again say like production of the work is important for us to exhibit it. And like the other shop owners do, we really invade the street, and our interest is public space, private space conflict, and also like identity or urban issues, or like power relations in the art markets and art scenes are really important issues for us, for our own practice as well. This is another sample. Maya Ersan has made a performance. We never ask permission when we invade the street. We just close the street, or we use we do whatever we want. By now we had no problem, and I think we also question in general, where we live, there are lots of police, but they either don't care or they also like what we do. So by now it worked very well. And we also attend international events, like in 2008 we were at Frieze Art Fair. We were invited there. And also last year in 2010 we were at the Armory show and also at Tate Modern for No Soul for Sale. And I mean, it's quite contradictory, like though we are non-profit, we also go to very commercial places and we find it as swimming in an ocean. And as I said, this our interest to the power dynamics of art markets and art scenes, it's really good to practice going there. And I mean, in Turkey there is no support for art, so I mean, we really have no support. So as an artist to survive, also the art market is emerging, and you really have to either know that as an artist your work should have a value, or you do it for a hobby. And for us it's not a hobby at all. For 2 years, from 2007 till 2009, as a part of the Artist Information Project, PIST also published the Art Map of Istanbul for 2 years. For every 2 months, with the circulation of 60,000, we distributed it around the city, around Turkey, and whenever we go abroad, we took it with us. And I mean, in Turkey, I don't know how many of you have been to Istanbul. It's quite big. The population is more than 16 million, and we never use maps. So I'm proud to say that for 2 years we made the first regular map with also transport explanations, and we also put the standards of the art scene, galleries, institutions, and non-profit spaces, how to announce their addresses properly, their websites, their communication opening and closing times, and regularly their exhibition calendar. And this was also, I think, too much responsibility for us, and after 2 years we stopped, and there are now 2 other maps going on. But I'm proud to start it, I must say. Now I'll also talk you about the PIST Research and Production Residency. We call it Pırpır in Turkish. Pırpır means small plane with 1 or 2 motors, and I think it really suits because we are the runway for the airplanes, and usually we host 1 or 2 artists, like duos, so the name works. And what we provide is, right now we have partners from Denmark and the Netherlands, like regularly they send artists, but we are partnering with the Danish Arts Council and Özbek KVB. And also, parallel to it, we have one-term partners, like for example, now we are partnering with Bronx Museum from New York, and an artist we are hosting and doing a project with them, with him, Kabir Carter. I'll also talk about it. So we provide, excuse me, a studio space on the top floor. The 3 artists share the same workspace, and also 2 of them have their independent living condition in the same building. So in a way, we live happily together. I'll just show you samples of the artists we hosted this year, mostly the flyers. Wouter Osterhold and Elke Utentius were the first Dutch artists we hosted this year. And usually with the Dutch, this is the system we asked, and it works very well, because Özbek KVB has also asked us, like they were wondering how a residency run with artists would work, and we suggested them that we want the artists not to come for 4 months in total, but we want them to come 1 + 3 months. How it works is the artist comes for a month, they stay in Istanbul, they figure out the way, they know the house, the grocery, whatever, they meet people, they know how big, how nice, how ugly the city is. And they always come with prejudice and also with a proposal in mind. So while they are learning all these things, we also ask the artists to give an artist talk. This also helps the artists to meet the local art scene as well. And then they return back home or wherever they want to go. 2 or 3 months later, they come back for 3 months this time. Meanwhile, we continue the communication. If they want to develop the proposal they have already suggested, they develop or they already change it. And then when they come for 3 months, they already know that these 3 months will also end because of the pleasance of the city. You can easily end up enjoying, especially if you come in spring, summertime. So we both want the artists to enjoy and also to work. And this is like, I mean, in Water and Alkes case, they have already made a proposal, and the second time they came, they changed it, and they also held a mobile workshop. They made the replica of a hand which was demolished by the order of the Turkish Prime Minister this year, maybe you know. They duplicated the hand in a smaller version, and this is like, I mean, the charts we use a lot in Turkey, like the junk charts, they walk around, so they put the replica of the hand and walk around the streets, and also, excuse me, asked people like what this hand is, and then he also asked their point if they agree with the demolition or not, and who agreed. They gave a sample of their hand. They had the mold, like they used this dentist material that you immediately can have the mold, and then they took those more than 100 hands back to Kars, to the real area where the real monument was demolished. And they aimed to make a publication after it. So Stefan Pettersson was the Danish artist, Sarah von Sonsbeck, Gijs Kast, Mogens Jacobsen, who also held a workshop which is similar to one of the works here. Excuse me, I don't remember the artist's name, but it was also quite nice to see a work similar to his. And Mogens also made a work, and we right now exhibit it at PIST, OECD lab. He collected the OECD recent records and made 3 machines very retro looking. I don't have the image with me, but the machines look like this, and all manually controlled. And Khaled Hourani from Palestine, we also hosted him this year. Maybe you know his recent work, Picasso in Palestine, that he has carried one Picasso from the museum in the Netherlands, Van Abbe Museum. And the whole process in between Israel and the Netherlands was the real artwork itself. So, and then he exhibited it in a white cube space in Palestine, created the museum conditions for the international insurance companies to allow Picasso to be there, because it's like a no man's land there, and there was always security guards next to it. Excuse me. And Kabir Carter is the artist. We decide, me and Osman, which artist to work with. And Kabir's practice was interesting for us. And after, like, we call it collaboration with all artists, we are very much interested or supportive to their work. We are also, in a way, how can I say, careful about the local, how can I say, like, I mean, the language is important. When you travel to a new country, language and culture are very important, like, especially if you want to do a project site-specific to that country. I think you can easily fail. Also, in my and Osman's practice, we try to be careful about it when we exhibit or work in abroad. So if the artists, like in Water and Alkes case, want to do really a works related to the Turkish politics, for example, we try to give as much feedback as we can. And in Kabir's case, his practice, he's an artist who is especially engaged with sound, and he brought many equipment with him. So we agreed on, like, creating a working group for sound in the expanded field. And these free workshop lectures, presentations are still ongoing in Istanbul. And the last thing I will say is, like, also this year, a collaboration work, we PIST opened branches in Beijing and Edinburgh. This is another copy and paste we did. Like, for example, Guggenheim having branches around the world, in Bilbao, in Italy, in Germany, and soon it will be in Abu Dhabi. Our partners, Aero Factory in Beijing and Collective in Edinburgh, we met first in Istanbul, and we came with the idea both of these 3 spaces have shops. We said, why not to like open branches in each shop, and this is like we gave our shop to the Beijing partners, and PIST was their shop, their branch. Answer.
Thank you very much, Didem.